Hi everybody, this is Megan. I did my chapter on the problem-based learning model in higher education. I'd like to start by first defining what problem-based learning is. So problem-based learning motivates students to apply what they already know and inspires them to acquire new knowledge through the process of problem solving. Now there is a key word here, and that key word is inspire. So what is important is that a teacher develops a problem or chooses a problem that is inspiring and motivating for students to solve. Just some background information. Problem-based learning originated in medical education, and it was first introduced in the 1950s at Case Western University. Essentially, faculty in medical schools wanted to find a way to link content with medical cases. This in turn influenced instructional approaches and curriculum in medical schools that revolved around problem-based learning. Problem-based learning was officially adopted as a pedagogical approach at Canada's McMaster University and eventually is spread to other disciplines. Today, it is used as the predominant approach to learning in many institutions of higher education around the world. The social family and cognitive social constructivist theories support problem-based learning. There are two types of constructivist theories, and they include cognitive and social theories, as developed by Piaget and Vygotsky, respectively. The cognitive theory refers to education for cognitive development. The social theory refers to education for social transformation. Constructivism and cooperative learning from the social family both support student-centered classrooms where teaching is guided rather than directive, positive interdependence, individual accountability, team and social skills, and team processing. Furthermore, constructivism and cooperative learning include methods such as group investigation, role-play, peer tutoring, and other cooperative learning methods. So in order to describe problem-based learning, I want to talk about two goals that I identified. So goal number one for problem-based learning is to bridge classroom and real-world learning. To address goal number one, teachers develop a real-world problem that is relevant, meaningful, and inspiring to students. This is why authentic problems are best to use in problem-based learning models. What are authentic problems? They are problems that are real and important to students, appropriate in size and scope, and foster student curiosity. Goal number two is to teach and practice problem solving to students. So one reason for using problem-based learning is really to teach that process, as many students don't really know how to apply it, and this is important in their real lives as well. Furthermore, the process of problem solving is how students acquire new knowledge, which makes it very important in the problem-based learning model. So, there are four phases of problem-based learning. They include presenting and identifying the problem, and this is where the teacher has to provide or present a good problem to students or have students identify a problem based on information introduced. So what is a good problem? A good problem is ill-defined, authentic, and engaging. Ill-defined means that the problem has multiple solutions or multiple ways of being solved. The teacher also needs to think about certain things beforehand. Those include how they will group students, time allocations, a method of guidance throughout the process of problem solving. Phase two is for students to develop a plan for solving. This is where the teacher may need to go around scaffolding students' learning, progress, and interactions. Teachers may need to ask probing questions. In phase three, teachers may provide additional scaffolding. The teacher usually helps with documentation and recording of results so that students can use it in their evaluation phase or phase four. In phase four, students reflect, discuss, and assess their outcomes. The teacher discusses students' multiple solutions and helps students determine the benefits and challenges of the different approaches. So one other thing that is great about this model is that it is flexible and easily integratable. But it is important to keep in mind that it is impractical for everyday learning. So it's good to know that the use of problem-based learning can be limited, sporadic, or short-term. It can be used alongside other models, such as direct instruction. And there's room for differentiation in the structure. It's very open-ended, and it can be structured in various ways. So it's nice to realize that there's not a complete curricular overhaul, but a teacher can choose when to use it, where students may benefit most from it, and they don't feel like the whole curriculum has to be revolving around problem-based learning because, again, it is impractical, and time is really one of the biggest issues. So what setting is the model most applicable to? Well, the great thing is it can be used in all disciplines. Again, this is something that the teacher needs to think about. They need to think, okay, well, where in my curriculum will this be most useful? Where do I want my students to learn how to solve authentic problems? Where is it important for them to develop critical thinking, cooperatives, and social skills? And where do I want to teach my students to be self-directed learners? So these are all things that problem-based learning helps accomplish. And again, there are other ways for these to be accomplished as well, but problem-based learning really helps bring these qualities to life. So there are certain areas where teachers can take advantage and help students develop these skills, which are also 21st century skills. And again, it can be used in any discipline, so anyone can really use it. Furthermore, benefits include the promotion of long-term retention, and that's because these problems are relevant to students. They can connect with them, and therefore it gets processed in their long-term memory better. It activates prior knowledge and also metacognition. So it fosters metacognition by enabling self-awareness and future learning. Again, these are great, important 21st century skills as well. Just some thoughts of mine. I was honestly excited reading about this model. Time was, again, the first issue I had, but it was good to know that I can just pick and choose where to use this model. It doesn't have to be used all the time. However, I have been concerned about the idea of prior knowledge. Specifically, I wonder for myself, how will I be able to assess the level of prior knowledge my students have, and whether that prior knowledge is appropriate or enough for a given task? Because success of problem-based learning seems to be highly dependent on that prior knowledge. So being a community college instructor, and I have students from various backgrounds and various abilities, this can be a bit of a challenge and a bit of a concern for me in terms of the success of this model in my classroom. So I have some resources for you. The first resource is to help you distinguish between problem-based learning, project-based learning, and place-based learning. These three often get confused. They're the three PLBs, but they are actually three distinctly different models that have overlapping approaches. So my resources for you include page 283 in Kilbane and Millman, where they compare and contrast problem-based learning and project-based learning. Furthermore, here are some links that further talk about project-based learning, and there's a link down there for you to learn more about place-based learning. Again, these are all great, but they are different, even though they have similarities as well. So other sources, there's one from Stanford where you can get a lot of resources in terms of the theories behind this model, some tools for curricular development, tutorials. I mean, there's so many resources in that first link. And also resource 2 is WebQuest. This is something that Kilbane and Millman suggested. I will provide more details about these two resources in my forum post if you are interested. Furthermore, there are these two articles. The first article I did cite throughout this PowerPoint. The second one I didn't cite in the PowerPoint, but I do recommend you check it out. And these are my references. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a bit about problem-based learning. Thank you.